TIFU by swallowing. This happened about 15 minutes ago. NSFW because sex. Background: husband and I have been trying to get pregnant. Our sex life has always been pretty great, but the added motivation recently has made things extra steamy and fun. Unfortunately, the repeated back-to-back cream pies have thrown the ecosystem of my hua out of whack, and I was having some discomfort down there. I've had luck in the past using boric acid vaginal suppositories. You're supposed to pop them in your vagina before bed and, after 1 to 3 days of use, be rewarded with a fresh, itch-free, pH-balanced cooch. I ordered some, they arrived today. There are warnings all over the packaging: do not take orally. For vaginal use only. Keep these away from your mouth, you dingus. So I was just getting ready for bed and decided to put one in. Prepped by putting a panty liner in my undies. Then I grabbed a pill from the bottle. They're just clear capsules filled with white powder. They look like many oral medications I've taken in the past. And for some fucking reason my brain was like, oh, a pill, I know what we do with these. So with my underwear around my ankles, I popped the pill in my face-mouth, took a big drink from the faucet, and swallowed. I stood there for a second like, wait. But pretty much immediately realized what a stupid thing I'd done. I grabbed my toothbrush and stuck the handle down my throat. Vomited twice, but didn't see a pill. Then I found the poison control number on the bottle, hesitated, consulted the internet which said, dude, get medical help now, then I cursed a whole bunch. Now that I was sufficiently convinced I was probably going to die and had made enough noise that my husband was concerned and knocking on the bathroom door, I went ahead and called poison control. A very nice woman told me that usually nothing happens, that I should drink some milk or water to dilute it, and I'd probably be fine aside from maybe an upset stomach. So far the only symptom I've had is an intense feeling of stupidity. TLDR, spaced out while trying to use a vaginal suppository and ended up swallowing it. Feel fine, just dumb.
Read TIFU by swallowing and we're trying to get pregnant and immediately thought, well, there's your problem. TLDR, you supposed incorrectly. Dang, you're right. I saw swallowing followed by NSFW because sex, and I thought I was going to be in for a wild ride. I was a very funny story. Face mouth lol. As opposed to her vagina mouth. South mouth. TIFU by recommending a book at work and getting reported for sexual harassment. So I'm a 20s male, finding about all of this as of yesterday. I work as an assistant manager at a retail chain in a fairly intimate environment due to how small the store is, about 15 staff total when the norm is about twice that. One of my associates, 19 years old female, is an avid reader, which was a great talking point because I also like to read. So we got to talking books and she was mentioning how she loves all types of fiction from the likes of Tolkien, Martin, Stephen King, Bradbury, etc. but she was looking to branch out a bit since it's usually either high fantasy or sci-fi. I thought I would recommend her one of my favorite books that's basically a day in the life type book with some light fantasy elements, Norwegian Wood by Haruki Murakami. For those that haven't read any of his work, he's fairly mature and graphic in his writing, dealing with things like mental illness, sexual tension/escapism, suicide, etc. which I made very clear to her before recommending and thought, well, I remember loving this book right when I graduated high school and she reads Martin, so this will be a nice read for her. Well, I was wrong. I was closing up shop yesterday when my general manager walks in on her day off saying she needs to speak to me. Turns out, said employee has filed a formal harassment charge against me for the book recommendation. We're still working on what to do next, but from the looks of it it's going to elevate to company HR and I'll either be best case taking a class or worst case fired over said book. Looking back, it was a total goober move to recommend a book like that at work. TLDR, keep your reading preferences to yourself, kids. Recommending a book when approached to do so doesn't sound like a very solid case to me. That's what I was thinking in the moment too. I'll keep the post updated on what all happens. This isn't sexual harassment. So if HR is actually looking into something, she might have lied about other things. Think of any way you could have been seen talking to you on video or anything of that nature. If you repeatedly told her to read this book, that would be sexual harassment. This is an area that has very clear defined rules. So far my GM is looking into the next steps. Our store is small, so there's no formal HR on site. She has to talk to the HR rep for our district. I only mentioned the book once, which she asked to borrow, so I brought it the next day and gave it to her. I was obviously excited to share it since it's my favorite book, but I can see how maybe sharing a physical copy of the book doesn't look good for me. I'm not sure. Sure you didn't have a hidden dick pic in the pages? So the Game of Thrones books don't have any sex scenes or incest or rape? Maybe you should mention the books she was referring to when you meet with HR. Seems like this girl was fishing for a sexual harassment charge TBH, and op-bit. Kind of sick. Or she hadn't read any of GRRM, knew it was the cliché, and wanted to find something to talk about with Op, and was mortified when she actually read his suggestion. Either way, Op, you got played. Sorry, brother. TIFU by trying to surprise my fiance. I fucked up big time. So my fiance is divorced with 2 toddlers. Her ex-husband gets visitation every other weekend supervised by her family or a sheriff. 3 judges found and supported that he was abusive physically and mentally. Also, he's a total ass. Well, my fiancé has 2 daughters and is currently pregnant with our daughter. Her ex-husband messaged her, "Hey, I found a box of your baby clothes, do you want them for new baby girl?" My fiancé immediately said no. I figured because it was coming from him and she didn't want to upset me. I tried to tell her no, please accept your baby stuff. I know how sentimental you are. She just told me it's not a big deal, just leave it. Well, on the night she was due to pick up the girls from the ex, she was scheduled to work. So therefore I would have to pick them up. I texted the ex-husband, "Hey, I'm getting the girls and I'll also pick up fiancé's baby clothing." He happily agreed. I got the girls and the box, wrapped it all pretty and presented it to my fiancé. She opened the box and lo and behold, her baby clothing. She was tearing up, with happy tears. Until she dug deeper. Ex-husband cut up all her baby clothing and added a few choice notes. The notes stated, "Hope you miscarry, you stupid bitch, and fuck you." She threw down the clothing and just walked out. I went in the bedroom and told her I'm sorry, I was just trying to help. She said she understood but is upset because she has told me multiple times that her ex is a fucking psychopath and that I should just listen to her. It's not that I don't believe her, I do. The guy sucks. I just really didn't think that he would go that far to upset her. DR tried to surprise my pregnant fiancé with a sentimental gift, it backfired and now she's upset. Would this be enough to help remove him for your lives for good, like legally? I want to say yes. But his family has a lot of money and any time my fiancé has tried to provide evidence of him being fucking horrible, his attorneys just argue, well, how do we know that he did that? What if ex-wife staged all of this? It's really not fair and he tournaments my fiancé. Take a picture of everything and drag his ass through the mud on social media. Find his close friends/family and make sure to tag them in your post. Yeah. Should have inspected the box first. Or listened when his fiancé said no. You're right, I just didn't think that a man in his late 20s would do some shit like this. TIFU by not knowing how toilet seats work. Obligatory, this didn't happen today. It had been going on for like 2 decades now and I only realized this a couple of months ago when I was having a random conversation about toilet seats with my boyfriend. I just remembered about this now and thought I'd post about it. So a bit of a backstory. You know those potty training seats for children? My parents had one of those for me when I was a child. I'd always hated going to the toilet and I was glad to have that. Then eventually as I got bigger, my parents asked me to stop using that. I don't know how old I was but I was still very tiny. Anyway, I didn't want to stop using it. So my mom asked me to use the normal toilet seat instead. And that it's like the next step in using the toilet like a grown-up? I forgot her exact explanation but basically she asked me to stop using the potty training seat and use the toilet seat instead. I was glad to still have something plastic to sit on so I was like okay fine and I started using it. Now here's the fuck up. I was now under the belief that I had to eventually move on to not using the toilet seat. And I did. And at that small age, I was like so proud of myself for starting to not use the toilet seat and that I could manage to sit on the ceramic bowl of the toilet without falling in or something. And so it continued. For years. And as I got older, I kept hearing about the toilet seat up or down debate. I then realized that the toilet seat is in fact, not a training thingy, but it's for hygiene purposes. However, I never bothered to question how it's actually used. I just automatically assumed that the way I was using it was right. And that the toilet seat is supposed to only be used by guys when they stand and pee so that whatever pee splashes around the toilet will go on the seat and not on the ceramic bowl. So like the bowl stays clean? Oh god, now I see how flawed this logic is, but I just never questioned it at all these years. Anyway, I was randomly having a conversation about toilet seats with my boyfriend, about whether it should be up or down, and then he realized I was using the seats all wrong all these years. Apparently you're supposed to always sit on the seat. And only lift the seat up to pee, if you're a guy. And if you're a girl, you always use the seat. Friends, I am 25 years old and I've always sat on the ceramic rim of the toilet bowl for like 2 decades. Even in public restrooms. I mean, you'd think that I'd have figured out how wrong I've been, especially considering how much of a germaphobe I am. But nope. I'm just dumb as fuck XD. So yeah, after having the conversation, I have since started to use toilet seats the proper way. Boyfriend got a really good laugh out of my story and hopefully y'all will too lol. TL, DR, I have been using, or actually not using, toilet seats wrong all my life. I'd used to sit directly on the ceramic rim of the toilet bowl without using the toilet seat, even in public toilets. I bet your immune system is super strong. Didn't you ever see your friends use the toilet when you were younger? See the seats down on all the toilets in the women's bathrooms? I need to know what your parents said when you told them this.